revolution.
Are we on the air?
Yes, you are.
Live from the studios in Barcelona, Spain.
Please welcome.
It's Slade Suter Live on Authenticity Radio.
Thank you very much.
Where the honesty is refreshing, phoniness out of style, and the only thing available on today's menu is the freedom to express who you truly are.
That is what they do.
This is Authenticity Radio.
I said, Georgia. Georgia, a song of you comes as.
Welcome to you. This is Slade Suter,
as moonlight,
broadcasting from Authenticity Radio Studios here in Barcelona, Spain.
Other arms reach out to me. Other eyes smile.
Today, we're going to review and investigate 12 insights from the Celestine Prophecy books. And who better to do this than the author, James Redfield, who joins us on Authenticity Radio today. James, welcome to Authenticity Radio.
Thanks. Glad to be with you.
It is great to have you here.
Well, I always like a chance to really talk about, in common language and with examples, the message of the books, because, I'm not making this up. I'm just describing a shift in consciousness that is happening out there already. And at this point, what is important for each of us to do is integrate these awakenings or insights into daily life. And so that's what's left to do, and it's fun to talk about.
Well, that's exactly what we have on our venue today. When I read through your books, I was really inspired by how reachable each one of these spiritual insights were and how practical when you laid it out in the book. I said, oh, yeah, I understand that. It became very reachable for me. And what my hopes are today is by going through each one of the 12, and we'll divide it into 2 shows. We'll start with 6 today, and to go through and make it understandable and reachable for everyone, because I really believe that spirituality is us. We are spirituality. And it's kind of reachable. It's not out there. It's in here.
Yeah, and I would even say that our brains are designed for this consciousness. Our souls yearn for it. That's why we're here. Everything seems incomplete in our lives until we reach for these kinds of awakenings and make that a part of our lives. And so it's very clear, I believe. And what that means is that we all can reach a clarity about how to do this. The only hard part is to actually change our reaction patterns to the world around us to reflect and keep us in this consciousness.
So it's kind of like the habits that we have, becoming aware of those and making an active decision to do something about those habits.
It's just a matter of you want the good life, you want the hard life. Do you want a higher consciousness, or you want to stumble around in an obsolete consciousness? Do you want good karma or karma that sends you around in circles? So all of that's at stake, and what it requires is waking up in the morning and doing something different with your attitude toward life and toward all the things that challenge you every day.
Now, James, you are not really an author. You're more of a reporter. I've heard you say before on an interview.
Yes. My books, there's 7 or 8 years between some of these 4 books that make up the Celestine series. The reason for that is that I didn't want to talk about an insight unless I felt like it was really occurring already out there in the world. So, over the last 20 years, really, I've mapped out a progression in insight that sort of popular consciousness has moved through. Now, it doesn't mean we're all doing it or we've integrated it yet or anything, but it does mean that the insight itself, the awakening, has been experienced by a significant number of people in the world, to the point where you can say that the culture has moved through these insights, ending with the 12th insight that the book came out in 2011, just in time for the Mayan calendar. All this stuff fits together in a grand synchronicity of human progress, I think. But what's left, and this is all a clarity about spirituality, a clarity about life. That's simple. What's harder is to actually integrate it into the decisions and the attitudes that we carry in daily life.
Mm-hmm. And there we begin, because it seems like so many of us, and myself very much included, we're struggling daily toward this concept of our essence, our authentic self.
Yes.
And so this is the first insight. And this is and here's the words that I was able to capture on it. The itch that you just can't quite scratch. It's chance or not by chance. Now that's the question. The first insight, there's a sense of a genuine restlessness through humankind itself.
That's right. And individually, it's about awakening. It's about living the ordinary, waking up from this sort of ordinary, banal, even boring life of struggle to try to figure out how to make a living and deal with all the relationships and all these issues we all face in life, and not have it seem just kind of an ordinary, rational process. I mean, that's the old materialistic worldview that we're awakening from. And the way we awaken from it is to realize that each of us can step into a destiny, a sense of destiny, a sense that the world is set up for a greater self, that is us, to open up and blossom. And it's a very mysterious process that begins with, these becoming aware of these synchronicities, these mysterious coincidences. What Dr. Carl Jung called the perception of meaningful coincidence in one's life. In other words, the events are conspiring to wake you up and lure you into stepping into a flow of destiny in your life. That's the first insight.
And I suppose if we pause and we take a look within inside of our own experience, all of our listeners, you could do this right now as James is talking, just to reflect on your own experience and to see where has the flow been going, to quiet yourself down enough just to kind of observe that.
Yeah, you can look back, and I have audiences do this in workshops, where you look back and look for all the major synchronicities in your life, beginning in your early family. What was the synchronicities of interest that you stepped into? What did they say about how to live life? What synchronicities happened to move you into connection with the friends that you really liked? Why did you not like other friends and like this group? How did you move into a certain focus in your education? How'd you get your first job? What was that preparing you for? How all these synchronicities that we just take for granted as being the random kind of collisions of your personal history. Well, if you move into a higher consciousness, what you realize is that there are many, many major synchronicities in your life. Looking backward, you can observe them. How'd you get your first job? How'd you meet your spouse? All those things. What's important to realize is that we can be cognizant or aware of these synchronicities as they happen in the present. and begin to get a meaning from them that leads us further along this spiritual path. I always tell people the first insight is the most crucial, and it's the one that becomes the measure going forward with this series of awakenings that people have. Because what happens is you begin to glimpse synchronicity in the moment, and it's always about something, a change in your life. What you want to start studying, a new job you want to get, a new place you want to move to. In a way that feels expansive and inspirational. So the way to conceive this is that it all is synchronicity. You're always going to have this flow, but you have it intermittently. Does it go for years and then quit altogether for years? Does it, how do you, in the whole idea of going, the higher your consciousness, the more insights you integrate, the more constant this flow of synchronicity, so you feel like your life is an adventure and you're moving somewhere meaningful. And that's true for everybody. You don't have to be an adolescent to do it. You don't have to be younger than 90 to do it. Any point in your life, you can step into this flow.
Wow, James. So does this also include our failures and mistakes? Are the synchronicities with our failures and mistakes as well?
Absolutely. Because, you can always, if we could all be sort of adept at this, and you wouldn't be making many mistakes because the synchronicities would be clear to you. But when they happen, then you have to read them as a synchronicity. What's the silver lining in this? What did this prepare me for moving forward? So I think it's imperative that we take a silver lining, everything has a positive message for our life attitude, because that gets us out of the mistakes and back into the flow sooner.
Okay, so this can be seen kind of like as a catalyst, preparing me, getting me to move onto my spiritual journey.
Right. And, you always have another chance. I mean, if you miss one altogether, and at some point you make this leap into a whole new career, say, an interest that's more inspiring, and you look back and say, well, the world was trying to lure me into this new career for years, and I just kind of was too afraid, or I missed the synchronicities, or I didn't know anything about synchronicities back then. It always comes back around to offer this opening for you over and over again. There's no, God doesn't give up on any of us.
Well, that's good. That's good news. So, James, there's a lot of people who are struggling specifically right now with the crisis, the financial crisis, and there's a lot of movement in the world. So there is a lot of people shifting into something new, something different, and it's easier. And now, is it an easier time for people to observe these patterns in their life, these synchronicities?
That's interesting. I think it's easier to put them into action now. And the reason I say that is because with so much chaos happening around us, the only way to navigate this is to step into a spiritual consciousness. Otherwise, you're just crashing around with all the people holding on to an old way of life. And I don't mean to suggest that, all the human race is abandoning everything to move into some new order. It's not. It's building on the best of tradition and wisdom and all that, and taking it with them into a kind of new way of life that's more has more depth in its value. It has more authenticity, as you put it. It has more goodness rather than selfishness. It has more love rather than hate. So the best of our values are coming forward with this. But this crash had happened primarily because of the bad karma of people not honoring